Dr. India White. I'm so excited to be here with you guys tonight. Now, it's storming in the area that I'm at, so I'm near Tampa, so I don't know what the weather looks like where you are in the world. I know some of my friends are watching from all over the U.S., some in India, some everywhere else. So welcome to the show. I'm so happy to be here today with you. I've got a really cool show today, but before I get started, I'm going to start with some announcements for you guys. So first things first, the Real Talk Show with Dr. India White will be aired on the radio station SoulNet WKDH every Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, Ken, for this opportunity. You can listen to it live on the radio in Gainesville, Florida, and other places, of course, online. We also are excited because the Real Talk Show will also be featured on Swain Girl Media Channel, which is also going to be on Amazon Music. So if you've got Amazon Music and you're trying to listen to something, you can listen to the show as like podcast form there. So we are trying to hit you guys in every area where there will be playing replays, and it will be an exciting time for you. Also, you know me. Follow me on social media. I'm so excited. So I've got Facebook for you guys. It's Miss India White. LinkedIn is The India White, which I love. It's like so professional, right? Twitter is Indie Speak and Teach. And Instagram is Indie238. YouTube is India White 123. So you better follow me because I'm following you and we need to keep in touch. So we need to make this happen. Also, please check out my website, www.india-white.com. For those that you might need a motivational speaker, you might need someone to speak about equity to your teachers, or you're looking for some content information regarding math. Come find me. Let's make it happen. So we are going to continue moving forward. Thank you for all of you guys. I know if the streaming is crazy, it's storming kind of where I'm at. So thank you for your patience, and we'll get through the show together. Now, I wanted to come on the show today and talk about a topic that I think so many people are interested in, and that's dating. But I want to take it from a perspective, a Christian perspective, and also just in general. Okay, it doesn't have to be just in general. So I've got some guests that will be on the show today, and I as well as we will be going back and forth, answering your questions and, looking at your comments and trying to answer this in the best lens possible. For all of those out there that are single, mingling, trying to figure out if you want long-term relationship or if not. I mean, I'm 37. I don't know what I want. I'm trying to figure this out myself. So long story short, I'm going to bring on my guests, Bishop Al B. Sermon, who has been on the show before, and Zach Zindler. So welcome to the Real Talk Show. How are you guys?
Great. Well, yeah, good to be back.
Yes. It's great to have you guys back. So now listen, some of my guests might not know who you guys are. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves to the guests, and then we'll go from there. We'll start with Bishop.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm excited and humbled to be on the show with Miss India White, truly one of God's gifts upon this earth. And nice to meet you. I believe Zach is your name.
Yes, sir.
Nice to meet you, man. Look forward to doing this show with you. I'm Bishop Al B. Sermon. I have been doing ministry for over 25 years. I've won over 44 awards. One of them was the President Barack Obama Lifetime Achievement Award. I have taught and married probably somewhere around the neighborhood of 400 to 500 couples over the 25-year tenure. And through counseling and everything, I found out that dating is both necessary to have a biblical foundation, but also to look at it from a natural perspective, so anybody and everybody can relate. One of the things that I hope I get a chance to share tonight is the 5 Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman. I think it'll bless everybody because you need to know how to love the person that you say you love the way they want to be loved.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for that intro. And now we are going to bring onto the show Zach Zindler. Go ahead, Zach, and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hey, everybody. My name is Zach. I served 4 years in the Marine Corps. I've traveled all over the United States. Lived in Japan for about 2.5 years. Started my own business and ended up creating my own platform and a podcast to help bridge the gap between the military and civilian communities. My goal is to just help as many people as I can and to do it with integrity. So coming back with India, it's such a blessing to be able to be with somebody who is up. I mean, she's prestigious in her field. She's what, the 40 under 40, 30 under, or top 30 most incredible women in in Florida or something like that. She has the credentials to back up the flair. So I mean, she's an incredible woman, and I'm just so grateful to be back on with Dr. India White.
Well, thank you, Zach, for your kind words. And thank you, Bishop, as well. And I'm super excited about this show because it's a topic that so many people are interested in. They want to know about dating and Christian dating. I mean, even myself, I'm a Christian and I don't really know about the market. So many people are hesitant because they don't know. Times have changed, clientele has changed, expectations have changed. And so I'm so thankful to have both of you on the show to kind of talk from your perspectives of what men look for in dating, what people look for. And then as a lady, of course, I will also answer what I think people are looking for in dating. And so I'm going to ask various questions. So, and I'll go back and forth between you guys. And then you guys just kind of chime in and we'll go from there. So the first things first. So when you're dating, I will let Al answer this. What are the boundaries that should be in place for your first date?
The boundaries that should be in place for your first date is to find a neutral environment where you can actually have a conversation, because communication is going to be the key from the beginning to the end. So you want to meet them somewhere that's safe, somewhere that's a common place, some place where you can talk and there's no pressure of whether or not how much you're spending or whatever it is, that it focus on each person to be able to express themselves and get to know that person. Because I believe that a lot of times people get into a relationship and they really haven't had a chance to talk and get some history on the person or get some information on what that person desiring in a relationship. I think
Right.
sometimes we're so caught on the physical attraction that we forget to get into the internal attraction. And I want to just say this real briefly. In order to have any desire of your heart, which is a relationship, you must first inquire, get information, then you'll find out what's required. And once you know what's required, then you can acquire and move forward in a relationship.
Well, thank you so much for answering that. And I'm going to let Zach tag team that and elaborate. What else do you think is a boundary that should be in place for the first date?
I definitely think the biggest boundary that should be in place is that there is no obligations for any first date. um, just because you show up does not make it, where they need to now serve you, or they need to now um mention your presence and make it seem that as you are the epitome of the date. It's a mutual introduction. You both are learning about each other. It shouldn't just be one person learning about the other. And
Right.
one of the boundaries, I think, is being able to know when to say stop or say when. If somebody is really not in tune or really not paying attention to you or giving you any type of feedback, then that needs to be something that you need to take into account in your assessment of this person. You shouldn't let people just fly by the seat of their pants and reward them for things that they haven't earned.
Right. That's excellent. And I think as a lady, um, what we look for as far as the boundary in the first date is keeping it sweet, keeping it professional, keeping it safe. More than anything, we come into the dating world, we know what's happened regarding crazy dates, women being found in ditches, people dead, people being raped. So when we come into a date, a dating scene, we're already on the defense because we're like, okay, is this person crazy? Are they going to try to get in my pants? Like, this is how we're thinking. So it's like, sometimes, we want a guy that can kind of take that edge off a little bit. Um, not being manipulative, being themselves, but just understanding why we might have a defense, because we know what else takes place out there. And I think too, like, just that respect on the first date. Like, if you're like totally in your phone and you're talking to every other woman, you're flirting with the waitress to the point that you totally forgot your date was sitting there, we've got some problems. So, I think that for a lady, those are some boundaries that we have. And also, this is going to lead into another question, but I'll fast forward it a little bit. Kissing on a first date. This is one thing that, personally, as a lady, I'm kind of hesitant about. And the reason why is because we know people have things that medically that they're dealing with. And you might not want that. And I don't know. I feel like kissing can lead to a lot of other stuff. And so it's not a bad thing, but it's just, do I want to give you all that on the first date? Like, are you worthy of that? Especially like someone like myself, there are a lot of women like myself. We've waited, right? So we don't lay on our backs. We don't do all the stuff. So then we're supposed to just go into a first date and just have this rendezvous, this time, the sensual time. And it's just like, that has to be earned. And it's not that she's being a jerk, but we don't know the sacrifice, that these women are making when they come to the table. And so when a woman does finally decide to kiss a man, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. That is like a whole boundary, of trust that has been gained, and layers are coming down. So I don't know. What do you guys think about, whether it's on the first date, or when is it appropriate to kiss? Are you more free about that, or are you more reserved? What are your opinions? I'll start with Zach.
My personal opinion is, if you're comfortable and you feel safe, then you should be able to do however you please. But you have to feel those things before you go into a realm that you don't want to go into. And some people have a gift of making people feel safe and, heard from the very beginning. Some people, it takes them years before they can earn people's trust. Everybody is different. And I think that if you have a checklist that is just generalized to every person, you're not really seeing people for who they are. Some people are special. Some people have things to offer that other people can't even hold a stick to. And you need to acknowledge that and recognize it. You might have magic the first night, and it might be, your future soulmate that from the first time you kissed, that was the last person you ever touched lips with. Just a time does not dictate intimacy.
Wow.
So you really need to have quality of time, not duration of time.
Wow. Well said. Bishop, what do you think?
Well, I think what Zach said was very, 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 very truthful and on point, because a lot of times I think what's what builds up to the kiss, meaning that, have you been talking with this person? Have you spent some quality time in conversation with this person? Have you felt this person in conversation it made you feel safe by what you learned about them and their personality? It's not just the absolutely first time you met this person in the cold, but you've had some time to hear them, hear their heart, know what they're looking for in a woman, and know what they're looking for in the future. Because you got to make sure that you guys are on the same path, taking the same journey. You don't want to kiss somebody you thinking about a long-term and permanency. Of course, from a biblical perspective, the man is supposed to cultivate and tend to. He's supposed to guard, make the woman feel safe, and he's supposed to have the intention to keep her. And I think those things have to be in place before the first kiss. That if he's not serious about her and long term, then she should not kiss him, because it can lead to other things. And you got to be, and a woman needs to know that once you reach that point, it's no turning back.
So then my next question for you guys, I have the next question. So how long should courting or dating take place before marriage?
Who's this geared towards?
This is for Bishop and then Zach.
Okay, how long should courting or dating take before marriage? For me,
Yes.
if someone comes to me and tell me that they're ready to get married, whatever, I want to talk to them for right around either 12 to 16 hours of counseling, or at least 3 months going back and forth with his and her information. Because even though people have met and they have some type of synergy, some type of connection, but have they had a chance to know who they are and the backgrounds of who their families are? What do they have family values? Are you looking for family? Are you expecting children? Are you expecting? Are you believe in homes, or you don't? Do you leave? What is your financial situation? Are you planning on investing in each other, working as a team, or what is it? You need to know all of that before you get into talking about marriage, because a lot of times people get married because they have a physical attraction, or they're looking for a way out, a bailout. And I hate to say this on so strongly. They're looking for a sugar daddy or a sugar mama or whatever. They want someone to take them out of their situation. But you have to make sure that whoever you're looking for and asking for, that you are just as much that you are also made whole. I don't think God takes halves. I hear people say, "This is my better half." No, when then where's the other half? You want to make sure the person is whole. They know who they are. They know where they're going. They know what they're looking for in the future, and all of that, and that the futures that you're seeking, somehow you can see yourself a part of that future. Because if you can't, marriage is out of question no matter how long it is. I've seen people date for a whole year and they did not know each other, and it turned out to be a disaster when they got married. You got to make sure you're spending, as Zach said, quality time, not quantity time. It's not how much time you spend together, but is that time when you spend together, do you feel the connection enough where you've learned enough about this person? You can see that person being a part of your life for the rest of your life. That's a big question you got to ask. It's not just a date or two. Then you see yourself with that person, and can you see them handling your worst moment? I always tell couples to ask yourself, what is a deal breaker? What is it, something that absolutely positively you would not live with, and see if that's something that they can live with. And you got to also recognize that nobody's perfect. A lot of times people are looking for the perfect man, the perfect woman. You're not going to find that. You got to ask yourself, whatever flaws they have, whatever they've been through, whatever their past was, whatever hurts they've had, can you deal with those hurts, and can you handle and tend to those hurts? Because if you can't, then you're going it's not going to end well. It's going to be a little bit of thrill, a little bit of excitement, but at the end it's going to be a big destruction. So that's what I have to say about it. Take at least a minimum for marriage. I think it'd be anywhere. I mean, there's people that fall in love instantly, but I still think they still got to go to a preparation to be together for a lifetime, a minimum of 3 months to a year. That they need to consider that marriage situation, because there's no turning around once you get married. That I do is big. It's huge.
Yes. And Zach, what is your opinion
Uh,
regarding it?
well, my personal experience, I've had friends that have dated for 3 months and are still married to this day. And I've had friends that were dating their spouse for many years, and then they finally get married, and right away they get separated. What I really think is, it doesn't, like I was saying before, it's not the duration of time, but how soon do you become open with your significant other? Some
Yeah.
people, it takes a long time to really build that openness and trust between the people, between each other. And if it takes you a long period of time to be open, then you shouldn't be getting married until you're fully open. But if you're right off the bat, and both sides are open and being willing to communicate, then yeah, you have more of a chance to be successful in a long-term relationship. And if you would be able to overcome adversity, as opposed to creating more chaos through lying and deception and manipulation, just because you don't want to admit that you are at fault. And it comes with self accountability. If you can You have to be able to take care of yourself before you take care of someone else. So the idea of a proposal is a man that is proposing to a woman, or you know but ideally it's a woman accepting that proposal. So a man can propose as many times as he wants, but it's that acceptance of a woman, which means that she actually has the power in that situation, because she is taking on your proposal of yourself. And men need to understand that you need to have things in order. You need to have your books in your shelves in order for you to really make a proper proposal. You might be able to make a proposal, but it's based off of, no merit. You have a hollow shell. You haven't put the books on your shelves so that when somebody pushes it, it just falls over. You have no weight. You have no anchor. You have no
Right.
foundation.
Wow. So for me, I think it takes, I'd say at least 3 to 6 months to really know whether or not you want to spend the rest of your life with someone as a lady. I think that there are a lot of things to consider if she has children. If not, if she does have children, how do the kids feel about it? Does she want more kids? Um, what is her lifestyle like? What is his lifestyle like? Can she submit to him? Does she feel safe, or is he like controlling and a monster? Does he have mood swings, personality disorders? Does he have a wandering eye? Like, does he say something or do something that just triggers her and she's like, like, so I think that um as a lady, it's like you said, it's opening yourself, but being willing. I like to see it like this. If I could trust somebody enough to where all the qualms are gone, and even though I know he has flaws, I'm okay with that. And that together we can still build something. We'll go forward with that contract, because marriage is a covenant, it is a contract. This is why I don't play with it, because it's one of those things you really have to take it to God, I think, and you got to pray it out. And I think, having a person that's spiritual, that kind of gets around your same wavelength, is very important as well. Because, it's like when you're going to God to say, is this something that you want for me? Is this something that you want for him? Because I would hate to be a burden to a man. You know what I mean? And I'm sure men don't want to be a burden to a woman. And that's another thing, is like, why are you going into this courtship? What is the intention? Do you really have an intention to build something with that person, and to become one, and to build a family, and to build a legacy that when you're gone, and God takes you out of here, you can say, wow, we had the time of our life. Like, and it's one of those things too, like, till death do you part. I mean, I know now, things are different. People aren't trying to die, in abuse and things like that. But at the same time, it's, is this someone that I'm willing to ride or die with? They're 85 and I'm taking care of them, and they're taking care of me. Something happened, and I'm okay. And for women too, like, another thing, we all have our different things. So some women might want a fixer upper, someone he can just do everything around the house. Me personally, I want to protect her. So I'm out there, right? So for someone with my lifestyle, I need someone that can protect me, and be on the defense, and not let anybody just come at me and say anything. Someone that understands being out in the light, right? So women have different things. Certain women might just want a man that she just stays home and has kids, and they just live that simple, sweet life. That's fine. So each woman has like their thing, but like, I know for me, I've always said, if a man likes me, he is going to snatch me off the shelf. Meaning, I don't have to convince you to like me. Like, it's gonna happen. And I think that women, where we fault, is sometimes women get in the way, and they don't allow the man to do the chasing and the hunting. They help him, right? So they're like, yeah, you do like me, yeah, and it's like, no, you got to let that man, you got to let him hunt. And I feel like if a man really likes a lady, he is going to hunt her down, whatever it takes. I've got to get it. Like, he has a vision. He knows why he wants her in his life. He knows how to hunt her down. He knows, he's thought it out, right? And so I think that in society today, women have so many different reasons and qualms as to what they want. But personally, I think after about 6 months, when you get to the 6 month mark, you should know. You should automatically know. Like, you should either be engaged, close to marriage, something. If there's nothing, especially like within a year, you should be like, I think, walking down the aisle. Because, and the reason why I say that is because I don't think we should, as adults, want to play. It's, when you play, it's fun, but it's hurtful too. Because what if things go south? Or what if you play and it changes the dynamic of the relationship where now you're like, whoa, this is really getting serious and I don't know. And so I think that in order to avoid that, just going in it without that emotional manipulation to it and just saying, this is what that person's about. This is their qualms. This is what drives them crazy. This is how they help me. This is why. And I think men are so good at this, but I feel I feel like men are so humble in their spirits. I respect men so much because they take so much, and but I think that, sometimes a man just has to say in the core of his soul, I can't do it without her. And until he gets to that point, he shouldn't really make a commitment. But if he meets a lady, he's like, that's exactly what I want. Like I've got to have her. I've got to. And then he negotiates with his God and figures that out. And then he comes up with a plan. I've always said, as a lady, I don't have time to teach a man how to hunt. I don't have time. And I'm very merciful. I come off very, professional, but I'm very merciful as a lady. But, and at the same time, I'm also praying and saying, is this what my family needs? So it's case by case. It really is. I do believe there's a perfect will of God, but then I do believe that there are wills of God that he can say, this might not be the exact person I have for you, but you can make it work. And the reason why I say that is you've got Isaac and Rebecca. He just said, go out and find me a chick. It wasn't like, it was like, find me someone. He looked at her attributes and said, that's what you need. Whereas, you had, I think Jacob and Rachel, he was head over heels about her because she was hot. He's like, man, she's hot. I got to have her. I'll do whatever I need to do. So women have different, things that they bring to the table for that man. And depending on, I think that men should choose a lady that he wants to come home to, that he's attracted to, because like the worst thing to do is to marry someone and you're not physically attracted to them. They just don't do it for you. And you feel stuck. You're like, oh, she's sweet. She's nice, but that's got to be miserable, right? Like I couldn't imagine a man coming home to a woman that just can't make it rain, for lack of words, So, to me, I think it should take 6 months and if you are head over heels over somebody and you're trying to wait, after 6 months, it's going to get tough because you pinch flesh, you're flesh, you're going to start fogging up some windows and things are going to start happening. And so it's like, you might as well just, do what you can professionally, beforehand, and then decide, is this person worth that emotional part of me? Are they worth all of that? And so that's what I think about it. But I appreciate you guys asking and answering their questions. So I want to ask another question, and I'll let Zach start this. What traits should single men and women have in a relationship in order to be considered for marriage?
Patience. Also, they shouldn't have predetermined outcomes. They shouldn't have unrealistic expectations. They should. I think the biggest trait that a couple should have is communication. I think that is the number one trait, and essentially empathy, but that comes with communication. But ideally, that's the only way to sustain longevity, is to be open and to overcome any type of situation together. Two are always stronger than one, and you have to really believe in. You have to have the trait. A man can lead, but if it comes down to a family, a woman can take charge any day of the week without even second guessing herself. So everyone has the capability of leadership. It's just you may, be submissive in situations, but that doesn't make you a submissive woman. Or if, as a man, just because you lead doesn't mean you can't submit to a woman when it's her time to lead. And you have to be able to check your ego at the door and sacrifice for the betterment of your relationship. You have to be willing to sacrifice. You know, people that want to hang on to every bit of control, every bit of it, it works. So it works in some dynamics. It really does. But if it comes down to it, if that person that has the control is inebriated, or they're unable to make commands, then everyone is lost, and there is no control in the situation. So yeah, the trait should be communication. That's my number one trait that both should have for marriage.
Excellent. And thank you, Zach. And so now, Al, Bishop Al, what do you think are some traits single men and women should have in a relationship in order to be considered for marriage?
Well, first, I'm going to agree with Zach on communication. That's big for me. I think you've got to be able to have quality communication with the person and doing that in quality time. The second one is trust. You know, can I trust you? Can I trust that, you know, when storms come, you'll still be there after the storm is gone? Can I trust that you love me for who I am, not for what I have or what you're trying to get out of me? That you love me as a person, because when it all boils down, if we're not tied internally, externally will be destroyed because of all the things that happens in this world and all the distractions out there. So we have to do that. So I look at it from a biblical perspective, that the man is supposed, as I said earlier, he's supposed to tend to her, cultivate. Can I tend to this woman? Can I see myself being a part of what this woman's life is? Can I see myself adding to her life and being an encourager of what she's doing and what she's done? Can I be there when things don't go well for her? Can I encourage her through the tough times, through the hard times, and especially celebrate with her through the good times? You know, and cultivate whatever she's doing. Can I add to what gifts God has given her, what abilities she have, accomplishments she's made? Can I stand there strongly, and she can see me as the strength that she can lean back on when it gets tough? Because anytime God elevates you with major gifts and rewards you with your abilities in this world, sometimes you get pushed, sometimes you get attacked, and you need to know you can you can go into the safe arms of that person who say they care. Then it says to guard. She got to know that she feels safe with me. Like, hey, you know, look, I know that nothing else. If I'm with him and he's somewhere in my life, I'm okay, because I can call him when things get tight, tough, whatever. He'll understand. He'll have an ear for me to give me the right words. Not a yes man, not someone that just complies, but someone that understands, and he can say strongly to me, no. I can receive. The woman got to say, can I take a no from this man? And baby, I think it's a good idea, but I think you should look at some other perspectives of and be able to give her the reason why he says no, not just authoritative no, but a love no, where he's saying, baby, look, I just don't think it's the right timing, or it's the right situation, or baby, maybe look at it from this perspective, but be a supportive no. But she's got to be able to receive his advice, because if he don't, if she can't take the advice from him, she can't be with him. And the last thing the man should have an intention to keep her, not just want to fling or whatever. Because I don't really think dating is substantial. I think it should be courtship. If you're talking about leading to marriage, I think it should be courtship, where I'm courting you with the intention of permanency. I'm not just trying to have a date with you to have some fun, and then we don't know each other. We don't have any intentions of the future. I think when people go into dates where they're not having an intention of the future, then I think they're just wasting each other's time. Because why would I take my quality time and my quality gifts of who I am as a person, whether it be male or female, and pour it into you, and you don't really want it for permanency? I don't have time to just waste what I have, or you to waste what you have to give to me if I don't want it for forever. And I know that's pretty tough for some people. But then also it says for the woman that she has to be suitable. The word is suit and able. Can the woman see, can I help this man be better? And I use the example, President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. If President Barack Obama could show attention to Michelle, and he was running the entire country, and never lose sight of her as his wife, as the mother of his children, and always show that publicly, personally, and be there for her. The woman, Michelle, knew how to be suitable to him. He would have never won all the elections if she wasn't the type of woman that could stand in that gap and be a compliment to him. So the Bible says she must be suitable. The woman has asked herself, am I the woman for this man and his lifestyle? Because if you don't know a man's lifestyle or what he loves doing, what's in his heart, find out what he loves, not what he does, but what he loves. Because if you can't see yourself a part of what he loves, then you'll find yourself in a battle competition with what he loves. And a man is a positional and women are emotional. So once he's positional what he loves, if you can't be a part of that, then it's not going to work. And then it says she must adapt. Can you see yourself adapting to that lifestyle? You a 9 to 5, or can you handle an entrepreneur type man, a man he doesn't have regular hours, he just pours into what he does because that's what he loves. So you got to ask yourself those kind of questions, and then the woman should be complimentary at all times to that man. Like Dr. India was saying, do you have that attraction? Do you want to come home to him? And she should be complimentary that anytime that she's out in public or she's home personally, especially privately, that he should see a strong attraction that he wants and he's excited about her, that he sees her as that woman, that queen. And if he can't see that, then he should never get married to her, because I'm telling you, his eyes will wander and he will find himself in different places with different people because he was never satisfied with what he had. So he got to be satisfied. So she must be suitable, adapt, and complimentary. He must tend to cultivate, guard, and keep. And that's how I see it, the traits man has. And all that begins with trust and communication.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. As a lady, from my perspective, we want acceptance. So we all have skeletons in our closet, right? So as a lady, it's already enough to come out and be honest about some areas that you've failed in, and things that you missed, opportunities, and failed relationships. So when a woman puts herself out there, puts her heart out there, she's really vulnerable. And just like the man as well. So she wants acceptance and not judgment. So if you're dealing with someone and they just keep pulling up the past, this is my pet peeve personally. Someone that wants to know about my past and every single relationship I've been in and everything I did. And it's like, I'm moving forward, right? So, there's a balance to that. There's nothing wrong with saying, have you been married before? Oh, okay. And get off of it. But don't say, okay, well, what did you do in 2007? And tell me at 2:30 what you guys were doing. Like, that's done. That's done. That's dead. Right. So that's why she's talking to you, because she's moving forward. So a woman wants more than anything acceptance, because men have such a capability of making women feel shameful and condemned and like she's worthless, like she's nothing. So a man has to kind of handle her with like she's fragile, even if she's all confident and everything, you're still dealing with that 7-year-old girl. And so she wants to feel uplifted. She wants to feel empowered. Women, we want someone that can lift up, and it's like, even when there's negativity, find a way to say it without her hearing it, and then come back and maybe have a conversation over, constructive criticism, but being careful, because what enters into our ear gate is powerful and it can mold her or break her down. There's nothing like being with a man that is always saying that you're not pretty enough, your features aren't good enough, I've had better, it's horrible. And so ladies want someone that, if you see Beyonce literally walking across the street, that you're still like, babe, you are the hottest thing. Even though we both know there are gorgeous women everywhere. Convince her you are it, right? So that's what women want. We want men that are emotionally stable. Women will be there and they will support their man, period. They will. Women will go all the way to the extreme to support a man that she loves. However, there's a balance, because if there are so many mental and emotional issues that every time she's meeting, it's dragging it down, and it's more like she's a therapist than she is a lover, there might be some imbalances there that could turn off her interest. Doesn't mean she doesn't want to hold him and help him and listen to him cry and say, baby, I get it. I'm here. It doesn't mean she doesn't have that, but there has to be a balance. And if there is a chemical imbalance or something like that, then there should be the willingness of that man to say, hey, maybe I do need to go get help, or maybe we need to go into some counseling sessions and figure out how we can make this work together. There's nothing wrong with that. But one thing I don't think any party should tolerate is abuse. Um, whether that's name calling, slamming things, breaking phones, hitting the other person. I think if you have to hit someone, you need to leave it, just because. And then, that, of course, I think women also look for men that are faithful and men that are able to provide. It doesn't mean you have to be multimillionaire, but that you can maintain bills, and that when you come together, they might have went to college, you might have went to college, or you might have medical debt, whatever. That debt is not a place of judgment. Oh, how dare you have all this debt and come, like, but consider their life. And that's what they had to do to make it to where they are. And then how do you take all of your assets and everything you guys have and build from there? If he is strong financially and he knows how to budget and all that, can he teach her without making her feel like a loser if she's not? Is she more frugal? Is she, does she like to spend? Well, can you have conversations, and can she receive his spirit to say, hey, let's just sit and chat. You're not in trouble. I still love you. Let's figure out what we can do to move forward. You want to have kids, or you have a fun kid that just happens. Okay. So then we have this child. Okay. Let's talk about it. How can we plan? And women, we have to be more humble, because we're wanting the Coco Mademoiselle, and we're wanting the Jaguar, and we're wanting all this stuff, but we're not as realistic. Doesn't mean our man can't do it. I mean, if he really wanted to, our man could do it, right? But why would we want to push that stress on someone? Like, I think in my time of being single and reflecting, I've just realized women need to be more humble, in what we're asking from men, and we need to be more considerate, more respectful of his spirit and his sacrifice in his hustle. I don't care if his business only brings in 20,000, at least he has a business, and it's like, I feel like we should be more thankful, and show that gratitude to the man. Like, hey, I'm proud of you and what you're doing, and I support that. What can I do to help? And I think for the Christian perspective, women should be able to pray for her man, and ask God, like, okay, what is it that you've called him to do? And what is my role? What is it that he has set before him today? Sometimes God will say, he's got an accident that's ahead of the road. You need to pray angels. Or his boss is crazy, or he's got a client that's, going to come and do whatever. Or he's got a lady that, she's going to try to sleep with him. And that happens, and so it's like, to protect that marriage. See, I think when a woman is assigned to a man, and there's the marriage factor, marriage to me is like a sanctuary. It's holy, it's beautiful, it's passionate, it's intimate. It should be his heaven on earth, right? Besides God, right? But it should be. And so I feel like a lady needs to do everything she can so that that man can lay peacefully on her, and know, I'm going to be all right. I'm in good hands. My home is safe. Look at what she's done while I was out hustling and do what I needed to do. She was providing a home for me. She took care of the babies, and like that's what my perspective is on it. So I think that those are some traits that
We got a little lag. It's all good. It's all good.
Yes.
Well, if we're still on the lag, I guess what we can also, um, Bishop and I, my
can you
personal.
hear me now?
Oh, there we go.
There we
Okay,
go.
good. Yeah, it's the storm, I think, is still figuring out what it wants to do. Next question. Age differences. I'll let the bishop start with this. What should the age range be in dating?
Well, for me, I've married all different types. I've married people who were anywhere from they were the same age, and they were childhood and sweethearts, and they grew right into the marriage. And I've met people who some ladies mature. Matter of fact, most ladies mature faster than guys. They say that ladies usually have a couple of years of maturity over a guy. So, and then there's some women what I call have what's called a mature older spirit on them. And if they have a mature older spirit, then a guy their age will not be able to comply to their needs, wants, and their lifestyle. So sometimes it's people in relationship with people who are older. I say that age is not a factor if the person can fulfill the love that's necessary for that person that's receiving that love. So whatever age they may be, does he give you or she give you the feelings, the intelligence, the guidance, the vision that lets you know that this will work? Because sometimes people are in relationships and they just in relationships and they don't get along at all because one person is a lot more mature than the other person based on how they were raised up. And sometimes you see a lot of women, they seek older men because that man is stable. He knows where he's going and all of that. He's been through everything and he makes her feel safe. He lets her know, he tells her the things she needs to hear. He can handle whatever is going on with her and he can pour some wisdom upon her. And as long as he can fulfill her in every way, spiritually, physically, financially, emotionally, relationally, then I don't think there's a question of that. Because I've seen people that were the same age and I've seen people where the man was older or the woman was older and some of them worked out great. But you have to be going in, you have to understand that do you have enough in common with the age difference that you can get to a common ground that allows love to grow and flourish? That's what's important. Can I see myself loving this man, loving this woman, no matter what age they are, to a point that they make me feel like we have a future together and we can build a future together and do some things together. And he or she can do whatever I need to make me feel the fulfillment that I need going forward for a lifetime in relationship. So I think age is something that depends on the person. What are you looking for? What do you feel comfortable with? Because I've seen people that it's for some reason, some women especially came to me and says, guys my age just don't get it. They're not settled enough. And today you see a lot of that because a lot of men are not raised now by the complete family or a father image where they've been matured. I'm gonna leave with this. There are 3 stages of a man: motherhood, brotherhood, and manhood. And women, you need to know that this man, whatever age he is, that he's reached manhood, a maturity where he's ready to accept and receive you and make you feel all you need to feel. Because if he's in motherhood, then you're going to be his mother. You're going to have to nurture him. You're going to pick up after him. You got to clean after him and everything else. And I don't care what age he is. If you're his mother instead of his wife, that's not going to last. Then you got those who are brotherhood. He's immature and all he knows is his friends, and he goes for his friends for advice, even his single friends. And he'd rather be in a fraternity than be in a marriage. That he'd rather hang out with the guys and spend time with you. His quality time is demanded upon his friends and not you. So that won't work either. But when he reaches manhood, where he's got learned, God took man, and he told man it's not good for man to be alone. But then he didn't give him a woman right away. He put animals to name for him to name in front of him, because the man got to be to a point, no matter what age you are. Am I accountable? Can she count on me? Am I going to be there? She don't have to look for me. She always knows where I'm at and everything. Do I understand responsibility? Can I respond with my ability to give her all that she needs to feel secure, to feel safe? So that comes sometime with maturity. But I'm just saying that in some cases, you got to make sure, because if an older man gets with a younger woman and she's not mature, it's not going to work, because she won't be mature enough to handle who he is. So it works on both sides. But if she's a mature woman and she's seasoned and she has an older spirit on her, then an older man would fit her lifestyle and her love appetite. So I always say that, and I always tell people, take the test by Dr. G.R.I.T, the 5 love languages in any age in relationship, to make sure you know how to love that person they want to be loved. And if you don't know, because if you don't know what makes you happy in love, then you cannot really, no matter what age they are, you won't know what you're looking for. So the 5 love language, real quickly, is words of affirmation. What is it that turn you on? Somebody that encourages you, empowers you. Quality time, big, what Zach said. That is off. That is some people they don't care about what you say to them. They care about that you're there. Acts of service. Some women like a man that can do things with them. He mows the lawn with them. He washes dishes with them. They cook together. They spend that acts of service together. And some women like gifts. They want to be flourished with gifts, because maybe they didn't receive that in their early years, or they were lacking in that. So gifts turn them on or whatever. And then the last one is physical touch. Some women are and men are high natured where they physically need that love is big for them. So you got to know the person that you talk about being with, whatever age they are, can they handle your love languages? So the woman or the man need to know, what are your love languages? What are you looking for in that man or woman? And can this person fulfill that no matter what age they are? Because it matters, not so much the age as much as it matters the fit. Is this person meant for you and can handle the life you're looking for and make you feel like the woman or man you need to be? And can you grow that person? And once you've been together, can you see the growth of you two just in conversation? Can you see where you can see they can handle it by their strength, by the maturity of who you are and where you're going. So that's very important. So I think it has to do with the people involved, that they know what they want, and they've got this blueprint of what they want and sure in their heart of what their love language is, and the person that they're dealing with can handle their love language. Because if he can't handle their love language, he or she can't handle love language. It won't work no matter what age they are.
Yeah.
All right.
That's excellent. Zach, I'll let you answer.
So age and maturity aren't mutually exclusive. So it over time, we're under the impression that the older you are, the more experiences you have, which means that you are going to be more mature because you can base your decisions off of experience. But there is no gauge to how intense experiences can happen in any age in your life. The people that are older that may be attractive to you may 20 years prior, 10 years prior, been a completely different person. They might have been somebody that you didn't even look twice at. And it takes for them to be at a certain point in their life where the law of attraction works, where they can actually attract somebody who is reciprocal of what they're trying to achieve in their life. And for men, it's very common to go with younger women because younger women, per se, are more accepting of tendencies and habits. Older women have a very less of a tolerance of habits and tendencies. So if you're a woman that is wanting to be with an older man, then you need to understand that he may be expecting you to just, take whatever pile of crap he gives you and put a smile on your face. That might be his expectation of you because he is older and he may think this may be the dynamic. You need to understand what you're getting into. For a man, if you're younger, most likely they're in that motherhood stage, or they're a very submissive man and they want to be around an assertive dominant woman, and that dynamic can work. But if that man is no longer submissive and docile, then he is no longer a fit in that dynamic.
Right.
So you really need to understand that the person that you're attracted to may have been very unattractive 10 years ago. So you need to put your scope of expectation, into reality instead of the fantasy in your head of what you expect everything to do. If let's put it this way, if the military expected every mission to go exactly the way they planned it, they would never train the way that they do. The reason they do that is because you go into unexpected territory, and there are things that can be presented to you what you weren't expecting, that you didn't prepare for. But you have to have the ability to be malleable, to be adaptive. You have to be able to conform and overcome that. I keep saying adversity, but it's pretty much what it is. If age becomes an issue, that's something that you're going to have to overcome, either together or internally. Is that something that you're willing to accept in this person? Is that a flaw? Is that a deal breaker? Do you think that if this person had more time, they could mature into the person that you think the potential that you see in them? The problem with it is that men kind of get the easy end of the dynamic. They're allowed to have the tantrums, and it's expected that everyone else just listens and conforms. If a woman has a tantrum, a man walks out the room, he doesn't have to listen to her. He can just go into his den. He can go to the, wherever he needs to go to step away. But a woman doesn't get that option. She has to sit there and take and deal with the man's hardships and issues, which is okay if a woman is prepared to do so. But if a woman is not prepared to do so, she is so overwhelmed that she is just in a she sees the world in chaos. There's no order to anything.
Yeah.
And that's when you leave the house, if you when you leave the apartment, it's still there. The woman is still dealing with these issues because she's internalizing it. Words are facts, or words are reality. If you say things to women in a derogatory manner, when you leave, those words don't go with you. Those words stay inside and they fester. And the same thing goes for women. When you demean men, when you take away, when you belittle them, when you try to emasculate them, when you walk away, that doesn't go away with you. That stays in that man, and then he becomes hardened, and he becomes bitter.
Mm.
And if you have a hardened, bitter man, that is a very, very toxic
Yeah.
relationship. And that happens from both ends. That's from a man internalizing, not communicating, and not having the right love language, so they don't know how to love the person properly.
No.
But it's also on the woman that if she continues to be frustrated with this man because he is not up to her expectations, whether or not her expectations are realistic or unrealistic, if she's not up to his expectations, is that a going to lead to a toxic relationship?
Hmm.
You have to come to terms with, if it's going to be a toxic relationship, then that is going to be a toxic relationship for you, all the friends that are around you, and your children if you decide to have them.
Right. This
And
is
you will not you and you will then pass down your toxicity to your children, and it will fall on their shoulders to break the generational trauma.
wow.
And you are asking a lot to an unborn child.
This is very powerful and real. And I'm very happy that we're having this conversation. I think as well, love languages like mine is words of affirmation and gifts. And I didn't figure that out until I figured out how much I love everybody and how much I'm always giving. And people are like, India, you're always giving everything you have. I like sacrifice myself. So I'm a giver. I'm always, how can I give a card or flowers, or how can I, gift cards? Like, what can I do? How can I spend time with people? Give my time, my energy. Words of affirmation is like everything to me. And I didn't realize that until I looked at some of the traumatic experiences I had in my life. And I traced back what made it so traumatic. Oh, it was what they said to me. Oh, so that's how I was able to figure out my love languages of words of affirmation, gifts, quality time. I think that with age differences, it comes down to, can I respect him? Do I want to be with him? Can I brag to my girlfriends and say, girl, let me tell you who I got, Or am I like, I don't know, girl, let me tell you, I'm trying to figure out. If I feel as a lady that I can respect him and I can boast about him and I can say, yes, that's my husband. That's mine. Like if I don't have that, there's a problem, right? And I feel like the average age difference is, I would say 5. People usually say 5 years going both ways. I've had young babies. I call them young. I've had younger guys in their 20s, like dead serious. Hey, what's up, mama? I'm like, what can I do for you, sweetie? Because like, but at the same time, they presented themselves in a way, they were financially okay, they were respectable, and then I've had opposite, right? I've had older. So to me, at the end of the day, it's, can I, as a lady, feel like I can go around and saying, that's my man? Like, yes, I did good on that one. Like I'm proud of that one. I can't wait to go home to him. And newsflash, women, if the women are not into the man, So many things can be done to change that, but usually women are into their man. And so this makes me think of Brad Pitt and Troy, that Troy movie that he did. I'm only thinking of that because when that came out, every woman was like, oh my God, like, because he just, I mean, it is what it is. The brother he was working with stuff. So every man has that quality of being able to be a Brad Pitt from Troy for their woman, but you got to find that woman that you're able to plug into and get that going in her to where she's going to want to be with you, no matter if you're 10 years older, 5 years younger. Like, I don't care what it is. I think and the thing is, age is not the only factor. I think it's how do you speak to those love languages, but then what are you doing to make her want to come home? What are you doing to make her say, I can't wait till you come home. When are you going to be here? 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 20 seconds. Like, like what's going to make that? What's going to cultivate that? What's going to keep that going for 20 years? And I think that's the situation on both sides. Women have to keep, women can't let themselves go. They've got to keep their sexy. They've got to keep their sexy. You can't, you, you gotta work at it. It's a marriage. And my thing is, if I'm going to marry a guy, you know, I want him to be proud. I want him to say, look who I have and look at her, like not just, and so I think that for ladies listening, we have to be mindful of that. We can't just let ourselves go. You can't get this awesome looking guy, this hunk, and then say, oh, I'm just going to put on all this weight and just stop caring and become depressed. And he just got to deal with it. Now he feels trapped. I think a man he should feel those butterflies like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I got her. But then it should motivate him, like, and I got to do whatever I got to do to keep her. And the same thing for her, like she should be saying, look at mine. This is what I got, and where her girlfriends are like, girl, like, because they know. I mean, women, we talk, we talk. And so I think that as women are, preparing and men are preparing for that, that's what they should have to consider. And I think also the ages, and the lifestyle, are you trying to have young kids running around? Well, even if you're older, okay, if you get a woman that's younger, well, then you better go make sure that you can handle that type of lifestyle, whatever God decided to bless y'all with, because you might go in and say, I don't want any kids. What if she has like septuplets or, like quadruplet? That's something you can't control. That's Mother Nature. So if, you're like, oh my God, I want to be with a young woman. Okay, well, can you hang? Because what if she's a lot of fun and a lot of energy and she's everywhere? You said you wanted that. And I think the one thing that will get you through this is chemistry. I think because there's that natural chemistry. When you meet somebody, you're like, oh my word, like there's certain people, they have a sizzle. They have the sizzle. And I'm like, Lord, keep me from him. Because that's a baby maker. I call them baby makers. Okay. So whenever you have that too, you have to keep that in mind. That no matter the age, that sizzle does happen. And so, what can you do to cultivate that and to keep that person coming home? I think age difference, personally, yeah, I think 10 years either way is a safe place, unless there's like a chemistry or a sizzle that is in the mix as well. So my next question for you guys is going to be a great question. I'm going to let Zach start with this one. Why are men intimidated by successful women?
Because they make them feel little. And when a man's ego is diminished, then that's where aggression comes back to make up for all of that insecurity.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
What happens is successful women have a very low tolerance for inconsistencies per se. And with that comes a lot of incredible experiences. You have you're able to do so many more things because you have a woman with drive. But what comes with that is that men for some reason feel that if they are not providing for their family, that they are not as manly as they should be. They are not up to par with
Stop.
what, yeah, they're not up, they're not on the level of what an actual man is.
I
And
want you two to talk about this. I'm going to remove myself so the women can hear from the men and get this masculinity. But I'm still listening. I'm going to pop back in, but I want you to steal the show real quick. So
okay,
please keep talking.
my biggest thing is for, I guess, men feel that if they don't provide for their woman, if they don't meet this expectation, that they are a failure. And the problem with a lot of men is that they have imposter syndrome. They feel that because they haven't gone through the coming of age manhood trials and tribulations, like back in with tribes, you go and you go into the forest and you come back a man. There was a ceremony to being a man, or a ceremony to man. We don't have that anymore. We don't have a definitive moment where you are now a man. You're just, thrown to the streets and, figure out when you become a man. Let us know when it happens. We don't know yet. Um, so that's why when men feel that they have to overcompensate, they feel that if they don't control their woman, then they don't have control over their lives, or they don't control anything. Um, but ideally, the reason that men want to control women is because they can't control themselves, and they project all of their emotions and hatred towards themselves to women, or the successful woman at that. If she is more successful than the man, a man could feel inadequate and want to break down that woman and take down and maybe even maybe even destroy everything she's built, because he feels that she's not worthy of it. It should have been him. Um, there's also successful women that are able to mold men. There's successful women that could show men how to balance checkbooks and do their taxes, and there's successful women that can show them business strategies and business models, and ways to show quarterly profits. There's so much that a successful woman can do. It's not necessarily, success isn't defined by business. This woman may be able to hold down a household, able to have 2 kids, have both those kids be extremely intelligent and successful in school. That is success. um Being able to show that you are able to take charge of your life and you're not dependent on somebody else. That is the definition of success. Success is the ability to overcome. And when you are able to, I mean, let's put it this way: if a man isn't successful, is he still attractive? If he's not attractive, then
No.
what are you looking for?
That's a great question. And then, like you spoke about, what is success? And success means different things for different people. What a man might think her kids are great, or, a woman might think he's got a business, that's thriving, or she might think he's been at that job for 15 years, or, he's fulfilled his call in God as a minister. Like, there are so many different things. That speak to success, but I think it also boils down to, I think it should be a turn on too. Like, when you have someone, something about them should, and what they do, it should get you going inside. Like, you should be like, "Ooh, yeah, like, he does this or he did that," like. And I think for the lady, personally, I think our foundation of success is motherhood. I think that, as God is giving us children, and we're able to, we're able to raise them right. I think that speaks volumes, because then if he wants to trust her with his kids, he knows they're gonna be all right, right? Like, so I think that's huge. I think it's so bad whenever you see a mom and their kids are unkempt and dirty, the hair is messed up, kids are barefooted, dirty, struggling, hungry. She's not doing her job. She's not, and it's a shame. It's a shame on the mom. And so I do feel like success is being able to take the gift of that baby and saying, "Here you go, love. This is us." this is us. This is what I did with us. Because I mean, you become one flesh, you become that person. That person that y'all made, right, is a representative of both of you. And the woman, it has the power to build that or break that. And so I think that, yes, I think that it's almost her resume is how she raises her kids. Do I think women should also be able to hustle? Of course, but I don't think that was the original intent. I think a woman who hustles, I think that's a bonus. And I think that men should not feel intimidated. I love how you said that men will break down women that are successful because they felt like they should have gotten it. And it's a competitive thing instead of a collaboration. Another reason why I have kind of, as a lady, just decided to be single, many reasons, but one is definitely looking for someone to build with, business ideas, opportunities, and not feeling like I have to compete with someone. Because it wasn't until recently that I realized that sometimes men are jealous of women, right? And they'll be like, "Oh, well, you're good, but I'm taking that position, or I'm gonna." And it's like when you have a wife, it's imperative that she's someone that you can say, "Hey, I'm trusting you with my vision. I'm trusting you with this idea." But what if she comes up and says, "You know what? You got that, and guess what? I got one too, and we can join these together and go rock it out." Or does it have to only be your vision? I think so many men miss out on building a phenomenal marriage because they're so concerned about being on top and being the one that's dominant and not cultivating what is inside of that lady. She might have the business plan. She might be able to do what you can't, like, you might want to write a book or you might want to start something. She might have had that in her expertise, and it's like sometimes I think one thing that men have to do is have a gradual release where they can say, "Hey, babe, I don't have all the answers. I'm going to let you shine in this and I'm going to support you." Not, "Oh, you can only do so much," and then I'm trumping it, but like someone that really controls it, like supports. And I do feel that if a man cannot, he cannot see her as someone that he can support and work with, don't get involved. Don't do it. If she makes you jealous, leave her alone. Certain people are on different levels. You might not be able to handle someone that has a millionaire mindset. You might not be able to handle someone that, is all about the babies and all, like, so find out what you can handle. Because if she's making you crazy with her greatness, or you just can't, you like what Bishop was saying, if you can't like check her and y'all can't sit down and say, "Hey, this is what we've got to do." If you can't have those type of conversations, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Because one thing I've learned is that you get them how you get them. People don't miraculously change. You get what you get. So it's like if they have a weight problem, you get what you get. If they have a wandering eye, you get what you get. If they, business wise, whatever, hey, you might be able to work on that, but you get what you get. So it's like, can you receive what you have and build on that? And I'm gonna let Bishop answer to this now, because that was great. I had to chime in. That was good. So Bishop, go ahead, go for it.
Well, I believe that the man's got to be sure of himself, and I think it has a lot to do with his vision. Is he a visionary that he knows where he's going, where is he secure about where he is, and that he is matured enough where he knows who he is as a person, and that he loves that woman and he's happy for her success, that he can celebrate her success, he can be her biggest cheerleader, that he stands in the gap with her and find out ways. He's always looking for ways. How can I help her to grow even more? How can I help her to continue to be successful? Because if he really loves her, he wants to pour into her and to assist her to continue to grow. I can you have to ask yourself, can you date a Rihanna or Oprah? Someone who has gained a tremendous success and they're in a certain environment. If you can't control your environment will control you. So wherever she is in success, that's her environment. Can you see yourself in that environment and be a complement to that environment? Are you secure who you are as a man? A lot of men are not secure on who they are. So because they're insecure, they become jealous, they become competitive, they become rude, and they don't know how to accept what the woman as a benefit and blessing. If she's successful, if he's a true man and he's sure of himself, he can see himself being a blessing back to her as she's a blessing to him. He can see the benefit of how much more his worth is having a woman like that, and
Yeah.
honor that and thank God that, hey, God, you've given me such a
Yeah.
blessing of this woman who's sure of herself, who can make our relationship even better. We can do great things, that we'll be a power couple. But
Yeah.
that man has to know that he can handle a power woman, and he has to be someone, because it works both ways. What if a woman meets a man who's very successful, a man who has a lot of
Yeah.
power? Because power is attractive. Anointing, as I say in the spirit world, is attractive. It'll draw you. It'll draw you in. But can you handle the power you're being drawn to? You have to ask yourself that on both sides
Wow.
of the corner. Because if this man or woman is very powerful, because they've had some great successes in what they do and they're sure of themselves, can you handle that and be confident and walk alongside them and walk together, not her behind or front, that you're walking together hand in
I
hand,
love
say,
that.
I'm her strength. I'm her foundation. She can lean on me because with power, I tell people, with great power comes great problems. With great problems that come also distraction of people, of jealousy and all that. And you need to know that you can go to your man and say, you know what? I won this award, and this guy came up and said to me, "Who do I think I am?" And the man got to say, "Babe, he just don't understand what presence he was in. He don't understand how wonderful you are. He doesn't see all that you did. He's seeing your dessert, babe. He didn't see how you prepared the meal, what you had to go through, the trials, the tribulations, the tough times, the hard times. Don't worry, babe. Come in my arms. Let me hold you. I'm gonna let you know that you're my queen, and I don't care what he said, what he did. You're still the most wonderful woman I've ever met, and I appreciate what you're doing, and I celebrate with you, babe. Let's celebrate and not worry about who couldn't handle it. And you got to do that. That man's got to make her feel like, oh, babe, thanks. And he holds her. And when he holds her, she knows that he sees her as a woman in his heart, not as a woman to whatever she's accomplished, but he sees it as a benefit and not a burden. And you got to
Yeah.
have that. He got to be, but he hasn't been matured himself. He has to be someone that, he knows who he is and he's sure of where he's going and he knows how he can lead her, because it's not about him lording her, but can he lead her and she feel like that she has her own life? Because I'm not talking about where he lead her, where he smothers her and he tries to stop her gifts or her talents, but he leads her that she gets even better at what she does. That she feels like, I know I can go home to him and say, babe, I got this new idea. What do you think? And he can give her the wisdom to cause that whatever she's trying to birth, he can be the midwife of her life and help birth that which is inside of her,
Beautiful.
like a mentor or coach. He can take what's inside of her and bring it out of her. He can coach what's been birthed and mature it. That's what that
Yeah.
man has to do. But he can only do that if he's sure of himself, because he won't pour back into her unless he's already understood, unless he can handle the success himself. Because everybody can't handle success. That's why they can't handle success of women. So they
Yeah.
fear it. Some people don't want anymore because they've never had the appetite for it. You have to know that you can handle the appetite
Yeah.
of the person that, praise God, that you're trying to have a meal with. Can you handle that appetite of her drive or his drive? Can you handle that? All the people that comes going to be drawn to them because of their success. Because success is attractive, so it's
Yeah.
going to draw men. And if you're a woman, it's going to draw men and everybody who's attracted to you. Can you handle that without jealousy? Can you support it? Know that she has your heart and you have her heart, and nothing to worry about. And be a compliment and not a distraction. A lot of times with power, people become a distraction and not a blessing. And I think the man, if you should know right away how he feels about it. How can he
Beautiful.
handle that men are attracted to him because of your success? Can she handle that women are attracted to him because of success? And that she knows that she's secured herself or he's secured himself, that no matter who looks at her, he knows she's coming home and that she
I
wants
love
to come
that.
home. And then when she gets home, he close all those doors and make her feel like, wow, no matter what was out there, this was here is much, much better. And that she walks in, he makes her feel in the overflow that she's the queen of his life, that there's nobody else on the earth. I don't care, Beyonce, Oprah, Rihanna, whoever comes around, it doesn't matter. He knows that what he have at home is all them and more. That they become everything. She becomes his Rihanna. She becomes his Oprah. She becomes the dream of his life, the heart of his soul. And once he knows that, because I believe that God took the woman from the rib in the biblical stance, because the rib protects the heart and the lungs. So the heart and the lungs is the breath and life of the body. And I believe that the woman is the breath and life of a man. If a man meets the right woman, he can excel and do anything. President Barack Obama, Michelle was finished hiring him in Harvard. He actually worked for it at some point. But look what she saw in him, and so from what she saw in him, he became the president of the United States. And now she wants with nothing, and they have a beautiful relationship still today. Steve Harvey on a different scale. Steve Harvey, when he met the woman of his life, praise God, she told him, "You don't put that address book away, and I don't care what you've been through and who likes you because of your attraction of the comedian. I see you who you are," and she did, and she made him better. She has expanded him. She's the reason he's a successful in so many different areas. So when you meet the right woman, she's a breath of life for you. A man can feel like he can breathe, and that's why he don't want to be without her. That he thinks about it even when he's not physically in her presence. That she's in his thoughts and his mind. He calls her in the middle of the day. He sends her a text just to say, "Babe, how are you?" Call her beautiful. Call her amazing. He encourages her constantly because women are emotional. They want to be encouraged. They want a man to know that man is thinking about her. So a simple text, guys, a simple phone call. Let her, and when she calls, be excited about her voice. Be excited about her calling you. Feel honored that she took time out. Because if she took time to call you in the middle of the day or whatever, that means that you're on her mind, and that is powerful. So be thankful, guys. Know the signs of a good woman, no matter what success she has. If she's a good woman, you better cherish her because they're hard to find. And if he's a good man, cherish him and protect them because they're hard to find. But you find that through the heart. How do they show you attention beyond the crowd? You know, it's one thing when they're in the crowd and they treat you a certain way, but how do they treat you when the crowd is not around? Are they attentive to you? Do they see the value of you? Do they want, because I tell people, if you can't value somebody, you don't make them able. When you value somebody, you make them able, which makes them valuable. The two words, value and able. When you value that lady, you make her able to do anything, so she can do anything with you. And that makes her valuable. And you become valuable to her because she feels that way. So I just say from my heart that you got to know without a shadow of a doubt that that's the woman that makes your world spin. That as the old days in the tunes of things that she blew his mind, and it's okay. I don't care if I meet a woman that they say that semis are going through my nose because she's blowing my mind. I don't mind that, praise God, because that means I'm a happy man, and I can brag about her and say, "Man, you have no idea. I like hanging with you, but I'm trying to get home because what's at home is better than where I'm at." And that's all I have to say on that.
Wow. Well, thank you both for answering this question. I'm going to answer in a minute, but Charmaine mentioned here about the age differences. She says, as long as he loves me and can withstand the trials and everything else that comes with having a much younger woman. So she's thinking about, she had someone older. So this, I'm gonna pitch it also why women are intimidated by successful men. Um, because of what comes with the package. So there's one thing for a lady to be successful, but when the man is successful and he's got women that look like Beyonce all over him and women that, just it's that fear of, is he going to come home? Or do I have to share my man with all these women, possibly pick up some kind of, health issue, or, he might father another baby. Like, I mean, we see it all the time. So I think the one thing is there's a fear of loyalty being compromised of, is is he going to come back home to me when he does, inherit fame and wealth? Will I be enough? Or is he going to leave me for somebody that lives in Los Angeles and, and everything I've built him up to be, or everything I've invested is now in the arms of someone else that is younger than me, looks better than me, that has wealth that I don't have. So that's why I admire a lot of NBA players, because they find their woman in high school and they tell her, "Babe, I'm coming back. I promise you, I'm coming back. I know I've got some flings to take care of, but I'm coming back, and I'm gonna put that ring on your finger, girl, and you ain't going nowhere." What's his name? Steph Curry or whatever, Stephen Curry. There was a chick that was trying to kiss him, and he was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 chick, whoa! Like, you got me jacked up." That's what a woman wants. Is that
LeBron
you
James.
have
Yeah.
it all when you arrive. That you're not going to be putting your lips on everything else that's walking and saying, you know what, I look at me, I got all this. Bring the women, but that you can be loyal and say, yeah, I got all this, but I got that one at home, you know. And that is a discipline that we all have to develop. And I know with as a lady myself, I mean, yes, I've had success. I'm thankful to God. Um, that's not really much of a problem for me, though. I don't think. I think women are more. We can handle the faithfulness and the loyalty, but we just want to know that as we're out here rocking it out, that we do have a man in our corner that's going to say, wow, look at you. You did it. You know, what's next? Not someone that's like, who you think you are? Sit your butt down. You know, like, but someone that's going to say, you did it. You did it. The plan happened. Congratulations. What's next? You know, not this well, let's look and see what's next because I don't know if you can keep doing all that unless it's something that you both can come to the table about and say, this is huge for our family, this is huge for our destiny, and this is the right step. So I think that too, like just figuring out what the destiny is for your family, what you guys are building together, does that make sense? And you know, I think that's why women are intimidated is because yes, they want that man that's got the fame and he's hot and all, but is he going to come back home to me? Just me? You know, like, and it's like, I mean, yeah, I might be cute and all this, but you've got some bad looking girls out there with wealth. They can get any man they want and they don't care. They will get a married man. So it's like when that girl comes for him, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And so I think that's why women are more so intimidated by successful men. But this has been a great conversation. I've got a couple more questions and we'll wrap this up. So, what do you guys think about getting through this? Being unequally yoked with doctrine, religions, finances, and health. I'll start this out. Um, so, I thought of this question because I've heard this all the time. Oh, we're not equally yoked. Financially, we're not equally yoked. Health wise, we're not equally yoked. Um, Financially, or we're not equally yoked. I'm Buddhist, he's Christian. You know, like all these different things. Where do you draw the line when you're trying to marry someone? If the chemistry is there, you have everything, but there's one of these issues. How do you work through these issues? Personally, I think you'd have to take it to prayer, and then you'd have to take a risk. If you really love that person, you've got to say, can I live 30 years more with this person, even though he's Buddhist and I'm Christian? Or he might have all kind of health problems or debt and I'm good. Like, am I willing? And I think that's a part of like loving someone. Like Jesus died for us and sacrificed his life. This is my belief, right? He died in sacrifice. He gave all that he had for mankind so that they could enter into a relationship with him, get to know him, and build. Well, just like that kind of concept, are you willing to give all for that person, even if one of these areas are jacked up? So I'll start with Zach and then I'll let Bishop chime in on how do you deal with these issues of
I
being
think
unequal.
I think it's well, there's multiple in certain relationships. It's absolutely necessary for there to be a division of traits and capabilities because you need to be able to accommodate for what the other person lacks in order to be successful. And so it's definitely necessary, but it can be it can be very touchy because let's say it's in doctrine. Just because someone has more education, they may feel some type of authority in the relationship based off of that accolade. But that person may not even know how to do laundry, or that person may have never cooked a meal in their life. They may have all this education, but they're lacking in other areas. And if you are going to uh, praise yourself on what you are yoked in or what your accolades are or accomplishments are, then what you're doing is you're casting a shadow on all your incapabilities. You're inadequate in multiple areas, but you only want people to see what you're good at. And if that is a problem for you, it's because you don't want them to see what's wrong, what's really the reason why you have an issue. If the true reason is your finances are in debt, that's very understandable, because that's a very if you can't come out of that, then you can potentially lose both lives and credit. So that has to be something that you have to be, like you said before, India, that you have to be willing to accept going into a relationship or courtship. Um, the biggest thing for me is, well, health is definitely, you're supposed to be there for the other person, and it's going to be very demanding. But if you get into a relationship, health is always in question. Like, you can get hit by a car. I've been in multiple car accidents. I mean, it's a very common thing to happen, and it can be catastrophic. And you could be a vegetable on a feeding tube. So health, if you are getting into a serious relationship, shouldn't be an issue. If you want to be in that relationship, because you're in it for that person, what they give you, how they make you feel. You're not in it because of their health, because the goal is, like we've said before and multiple times, it's the quality of time you spend together. If you have an incredibly uh, intimate, intense relationship, but it only lasts 2 years, that's better than a 30-year relationship that becomes stale, and you're just you're enjoying each other. You're in the same room, but you aren't emotionally connected. So it's the intensity and passion of your relationship that matters, not your health, not the duration. You may want that passion to last forever, but it's better to have and lost than to never have had and have no idea why you're. The reason we become depressed and sad, for some reasons, not all, but for some reasons, is because we know how good it used to be or how good it could have been. And you're looking at what was taken away from you or what you didn't achieve, as opposed to what is a potential out there of what you could do and what you can achieve. So ideally, um, this is just a mantra: things in life happen for you, not to you. So once you can learn that things don't happen to you, they happen for you, you actually can get a message and a lesson out of every single situation in your life.
Wow. Because that takes you from being on the defense.
Victim.
Wow. Bet you on the offense. Wow. Bishop, go ahead and take it over.
Well, on all three, I just want to take it from the perspective that these are all things you can grow in. If let's say that you meet someone and you must be equally yoked, meaning that your belief system has to come to a point of commonality. You got to have some kind of common ground. So let's say if you have different doctrine, like you mentioned, if one person believes this, another person believes it, can you come together and discuss it and come to a common ground that you can grow? Because sometimes you can teach your mate. I've seen women who were all in the church and they meet a man unsaved and they're able to convert that man, amen, unto a better way of life by letting him know what is the benefit of this doctrine. How does it line up with, how can they, a woman or a man should be able to tell that woman or man how this fits and how this makes us better, how it make each other better. Because people always want to know, well, how does it fit into us being better? How does it fit into us growing? Because it's all about growth. So you can grow. You can meet somebody that don't know. People perish for lack of knowledge, but you can work together. Are you open to say, okay, all right, if you see enough potential in that person, now if they just closed minded and not open minded, and they just set on their ways that this is how it is, it's going to be, and they're not open to allow you to learn from them. Because when you have knowledge, you're supposed to share it. That's what gives you leverage with the person. You should want them to grow and know why it's so important to you. And the person ought to be attended to know, say, if this is that important to her or him, then let me hear about it. Let me know.
Yeah.
Let me find out why you're so passionate about this. Because if you're not submissive enough to want to know why it's those. So, and why are you interested in this man or woman if you don't want to know why they're so passionate about what they believe? Because the belief system is powerful. Because if they believe something that you don't believe and y'all never can come together, it's never going to work. And then finances, you can grow finances. I tell people that most people are always looking for cash flow, but the first thing you need to come to terms with each other is your net worth. You know, what do you feel? What do you feel your net worth is? Take a net worth analysis, and then see if you can come together. What you have realized what your value is. Can you come together and create a savings analysis? You know, can we build together? Can we take a little bit compounding and save a little bit out of whatever we at? Now she might be able to put away 100. He can maybe put away 200. Don't matter. But can we come together and put something together to build something? So we create a cushion and a way to build a foundation that no matter what happens to either of us, we got something to fall back on and help us. Finances can be taught and can be transformed and changed based on knowledge and wisdom and proper practice and proper health. Then health. You meet somebody and they are very athletic, the man or woman, they work out on a daily basis, whatever. You got to ask yourself, you got to, they say, come on, babe, let's go exercise together. Let's take a walk. Nothing else. Let's take a walk together. Let's walk and hold hands so we show intimacy as well as stay healthy. And you can work at all these things. You just have to have an open mind and you care enough that you want the other person to be better. And you can convince that person that that's what your intentions are, that you're trying to share whatever you're trying to share and you're passionate about whatever you're passionate about because you want them to be better. Because all three of these, when they're treated properly and it's a team effort, and you take a person where they are. Because I've seen men and women get with people who were lacking in one of these areas because they didn't have the proper knowledge. Something happened, something fell apart, a business failed or whatever, and they was able to come into their life and change it totally. It's if you're willing to work together as one and say, babe, I know where you are, but I love you enough that I believe we can work on this. I have enough knowledge and my success of how I've gotten where I'm at, I can share that with you. And if they're willing to work together, they can accomplish anything. The Bible says if you become one, nothing is impossible to you. Come one. Say, we're going to do this together. No matter what storms come, no matter where we are, I want to grow with you. So teach me why you are the way you are, because they was obviously attracted to that person by who they are and what they believe. So you got to ask yourself, okay, if they're so passionate about what they believe doctrinally, or they're so passionate where they handle their finances, they're so passionate about their health, then I want to be a part of that if I love them and I want to grow with them and I want to be one with them. So you have to be that, you have to be open enough to have the mindset that I want to grow with this person. I want to be one with this person. So how can we make it work? Talk about how can we make it work? Not what's wrong, but how can we make it work? Stop asking what and say, not stop asking why and say, what can we do to change it? What can we do to make it better? How can we come together and make it a success in all three of these areas? What can we do that you'll understand me? Because all I getting, let's get understanding. Let's know each other. Let's love each other. So nothing can come and break us down. That we can deal with everything. Where my weakness is, I want to be your strengths. Where my strengths are, I want to be your weaknesses. So we can come together and complete each other and not compete with each other. Not look down on each other, but lift each other. Show each other that we care enough that we want to change. Because love will make you change. Love is giving. It's giving of yourself sacrificially, showing the other person that you're willing to do whatever it takes in all three of these areas to make a difference and be there for them. And you might meet them in a place where they may not be sufficient in one of these areas, or they may not be knowledgeable in one of these areas, but are you willing to work with them? Are they willing to learn, open themselves to learn and to grow with you? Because if they're not willing to grow with you, they'll die with you. They'll destroy you. So you got to find someone who's open enough to say, hey, babe, I know what you believe, but show me why you believe that. Show me why you stand so strong on that. Babe, I know where you are financially. It's okay. We can build on that. We can make it work. This is what I've learned about finances. Let's try this. Let's start saving, because you can't just say that this person's perfect in any of those areas, but you can change them all. You can work on health. You can work on finances. You can get understanding and a completion in doctrine. You can come into one accord. But being equally yoked means that, hey, we're together and we have a belief system, no matter what our gifts and talents and our dreams and visions are, that our vision is leading down the same path to reach a destination that we both will be fulfilled.
This is powerful. I love your optimism. on being able to say, yes, you can work on it. Because sometimes women go into the relationship thinking that their husbands have, they're multimillionaires and that they work right with Jeff Bezos, right? So women have to realize that's not the reality here. And men also have to realize that, yeah, some of us women, we're paying off debts, we're doing what we can, but we're making it happen. But we're not Rihanna and Oprah sitting in penthouses, so we have to be forgiving of each other in these areas as well. If you have a person that their health might be compromised, how much of that are you willing to take on, or financial debt? If you don't want to take on their debt, can you sign a prenup?
Mm-hmm.
Sign a prenup, and then y'all keep what you keep, and do what you can together. Like, you can make that happen. I don't think that should be a deal breaker. I think that should be just a financial decision that you make for yourself, and they make it. If it's a prenup, hey, you can love each other with a prenup.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, doctrine, it depends on, I think, the belief system and how that would affect children being raised.
Very, very well said.
And on how that person will be treated. So if your belief system would cause you to want to abuse the other person, you probably shouldn't be with them. Or, like, I don't know. If you can't seem to agree to disagree, and if I think if it affects your calling and your purpose, it might be something that you have to consider. Um, I there's nothing like being in a situation where your belief system brings abuse. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And so I think that, as long as you can still live cordially together, there's a scripture that talks about how the woman's behavior, her being comely and loving to her husband, she can convert that, she can convert him, or they could still live happy. It talks about how even if he's not a believer, they could still have a good life. Like, it's good. If he loves you, rock it out. I mean, the only thing about that, though, is I've seen women who have had different belief systems and their hearts are broken because they're like, I love my husband, but he's not saved. Like, he doesn't know God. He doesn't want to know God. And they are weeping. And that is one part that women have to factor in is, are you willing to kind of take him on as a burden and say, God, he's phenomenal, but this one area, I'm concerned about. And so that's case by case. But this has been great. I think that I'm so thankful that you guys came on the show today, Zach and Bishop Al. I'm so happy to see both of you back on the show. And I want you to just kind of provide your information for those that might want to follow up with you, whether it's for speaking or other opportunities, so that they can just keep in touch with you guys after the show. So I guess, Bishop, go for it. How can they reach you?
You can reach me at my email or absmylife12. ABS, my initials, Albie Sermon. absmylife12 at gmail.com. And I'll respond to emails. And know that I do the emails because it keeps you in a safe place and me in a safe place. That we can communicate on and make a decision whether we want to communicate based on what's being said to us. So I think the email is a good way to start. And if the email is successful, then I'll share all the information how to contact.
Thank you for sharing, Bishop Allen. And Zach, go ahead and share with us. How can we reach you?
So I have endeavors. If you want to connect with me personally, my email is zachzindler@yahoo.com. But I also have a hemp business, and that is Native Ceuticals Tampa. And if you're trying to reach me out on that, nativeceuticalstampa@gmail.com. And lastly, I have my brand / podcast. The podcast is called Core Values, CORPS Values. And it's on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud. And if you want to contact me on that, it's admin@corevalues.io. And the website is corevalues.io.
Can you repeat the podcast part, Zach?
Yeah. So the podcast is Core Values, CORPS Values Podcast. And I've been doing that since the beginning of the year. And the purpose of it was a lot of people have this stigma of what a military service member is. And it's an unrealistic idea because it puts service members on a pedestal, and it's almost perceived that their experiences are completely separate from the everyday person's experiences. And once you start talking to multiple service members, women, men, old, retired, young, um, you realize that they all go through their own trials and tribulations. We're all humans. We whether or not where what regardless of what your environment is, we still deal with the same depressions, anxieties, irritabilities. We all get PTSD. Our bodies are all the same no matter where you grow up, and doesn't matter your race, your doctrine, doesn't matter what your what your finance class is. All that matters is that you deal with trauma, and you have to overcome trauma with therapy slash treatment. And one of the best methods of treatment is listening to people that go through experiences that are similar to you, because then it makes it okay to talk about. And once it's okay to talk about and say out loud, then that's the first step to recovery, is accepting that you have a problem.
Wow, that's powerful. When is your podcast? When is it aired?
Um, I've been doing every 10 days. It hasn't been as systematic as I have liked, but I've learned to be lenient and lax on timelines as long as there's content coming out.
Yeah.
The goal is to get quality of content. And I feel that that's exactly what we've achieved. So I'm at about 9/10 episodes right now.
Excellent. Okay.
Dr. India, I would like, Zach has inspired me. Also want to let people know I have a broadcast that comes every Sunday at 9 a.m. at Word Reaching Destiny Ministries on Facebook Live. That's 9 a.m. every Sunday. And I encourage and empower people and enlighten them with the Word of God in a simplistic way, and a way that they can receive it in a lifestyle, whether they know God or not, but to empower them to go after their dreams, to pursue what they believe in for in their life, and to recover from times of disappointment. That's Word Reaching Destiny Ministries, Bishop Albie's sermon every Sunday at 9 a.m. on Facebook Live.
Well, thank you. You guys have a lot going on. This is exciting. And so again, I respect both of you very much. And thank you so much for being on the show. People will be reaching out to you guys. And of course, thanks for being part of my tribe. You guys have a wonderful night. And for all of those watching, make sure you follow up with Zach and with Bishop Al to get some of this. I mean, you've got the podcast from Zach here, and then you've got 9 a.m. on Sundays from Bishop. So no use for you to just sit down and not take advantage of this. So make it happen. And with that said, guys, you guys have a great night. Thanks for tuning into the Real Talk Show with Dr. India White. And until next time, bye.
Thanks. Nice meeting you, Zach.
It was great meeting you too, Bishop. Ask and you shall receive.